This YouTube video, I'm going to talk about a bunch of stuff so you can watch and learn stuff I've accumulated knowledge in for many years. Now, the first topic is something I thought about back a few years ago. Is good and bad. So, there's a lot to cover here. So first, I want to cover good and bad people. So, um, and this is different from good as in pure good and evil as in pure evil. That's a separate topic. So, good can mean a lot of different things, but one of the biggest factors would be right and wrong. So, and that's a whole nother concept in itself. But if you're generally right, that's like an A or S tier factor for being good. And always wrong is, or generally wrong, usually wrong, is a A or S tier factor for being bad. Now, above that is perfection, perfectionism, being perfect, striving to always be perfect at everything you do, and in a most genuine, authentic way. That would be the biggest factor. Now, we have people who are psychopaths or sociopaths from introverted personality disorder, and they fit into society. They go unnoticed, and sometimes they behave that way, like a psychopath or sociopath, only to certain people. So, when you talk about these things, one of the common scenarios that comes up is communication. So, if I'm talking to my parents or someone at school, or maybe I have a job, someone at work, you're not gonna see the same reactions and emotions and content of speech as you would with family, and it's different between family and when you're talking to your friends or someone you meet on the street. Now, some people are blessed with very cool, nice, hip parents, and personally, I don't have that. Now, being good, being pure good, is impossible. You can be pure evil if you're just, acting crazy, and you can do that regardless. But if you are poor, you're abused, you have all these problems, your whole life is in shambles, there is no way that you can rise out of that and still be the most good person in the world. Give people money, give people resources, teach people things, help people. If you're at such a shallow level, pure good doesn't exist, because pure good is your environment, and everything that's been given to you is holding you down. And pure good, you're still pure good. Pure evil is you're rich, you have rich parents, you have friends, you have money, and you took all that and wasted it away. So, all of us at some point have had microaggressions, macroaggressions, micro interactions, and involvements with pure evil. Now, if there was aliens, and there was an alien god, an alien devil, and an equinox, God and the angels, just like in anime, Dragon Ball Super, in the manga, they cannot, and this is a spoiler by the way, so if you haven't read Dragon Ball Super manga after Tournament of Power top arc, don't skip like a couple minutes. So when Goku and Vegeta go to fight Moro, Angel Mirrors gets erased because he tries to fight Moro in Ultra Instinct that he taught to Goku, and Whis shows up and erases him. Whis is way stronger, could easily kill Moro, but the angels and gods cannot intervene. They can only step in if there is a huge crisis. And in that case, it's very limited what they can do when they intervene. Now, back to what I was saying before. When there is a devil, okay, just like God, we don't see God coming to earth helping people. They stay out of it. The devil actually likes to mess around. And the devil is looking for someone who can help him. Because no one likes the devil. None of the aliens, none of the angels, not God, not humans. No one likes the devil. Everyone is afraid of the devil. And so if you were to befriend voodoo spirits and ghosts and demons and survive and become this basically gateway into earth, like through you they form a partnership like an equinox. There was a movie back 2019, 2020 where there was this guy, the Equinox, that was the name of the movie, and he got abducted by aliens. The sequel was supposed to come out a couple years later, but they've removed the entire movie from internet presence, so you can't find it. I never watched the first movie, and the second movie never came out, but that movie was insane. If you've seen sci-fi action thrillers and you like The Matrix or even Keanu Reeves, that's not sci-fi, but Parabellum, what's it called? John Wick, the Equinox or Equinox, whatever it was called, that is probably one of the best that's ever been invented. The guy was doing like hundreds of push-ups, training to become the Equinox for the aliens. Which, by the way, when I say the Equinox, that means the midpoint between God and the devil. So if God is the midpoint of goods and the devil is the midpoint of evils, the equinox is the midpoint of midpoints. So the equinox is the midpoint of everything, because the equinox can be the midpoint of goods and the midpoint of evils and the midpoint of midpoints. So the equinox can do anything. When I say can, I mean they will. So they will do either of two opposites with equal likelihood. They'll be good, they'll be bad, but the equinox is always logical, always rational. This is just a fan theory, but when in physics, because God is from the 10th dimension and you have aliens in the 4th, 5th, 6th dimension, time traveling in the 7th, 8th, and 9th, I don't know what happens there. So I believe that the 11th is where, because they say no one's there, but I believe in the 11th, there's just like, uh, I believe somewhere in outer space, there's a place where first of all, I believe there's an actual heaven somewhere and an actual hell, but I don't know where. And it could be localized to each region, like each universe, galaxy, planet, star system has a heaven and hell, and it could be managed by God and the devil, or it could be the 10th dimension is included in heaven, or how is like translatable, where you have like a portal to hell in Mexico, and the devil is everywhere, because these aliens can time travel, teleport, move around crazy fast in like an instant. So if the devil wanted to, he can split up into like infinite pieces and regenerate and come back. Like they can clone themselves, they can do all this stuff, and then they can create like an original copy of themselves. Um, um, Now, let's go back to talking about teaching the stuff I was teaching about. So, when you talk to people, people are gonna say, "Oh, don't be triggered, be patient, be nice, don't crash out." But there are misconceptions. So, whenever thinking through these logical things, you want to have a nuanced view. So if you're saying that's good and that's bad, that's not accurate, okay? Um, Patience and getting triggered and emotions. There's a time and place for everything. There's what's called healthy emotions. So you still display anger, madness, sadness. You're not just a robot, okay? If someone's talking crazy to you and you crash out, they try to tell you to calm down, they are in the wrong because they aren't behaving appropriately. There's what's called speech that incites violence in the First Amendment. Freedom of speech. An exception to it is if your speech incites violence, which I deal with on a daily basis, okay? And I don't really crash out. But racism, intense criticisms, insults, death threats, cursing people out, throwing stuff. If it's in defense, it's always viewed as more accepted. But if it's unprovoked and like what they say, aggravated assault. So someone aggravated you and you assaulted them. Now, I wouldn't say that, that's the right thing to do, but you have a right to do it because of the exception to the First Amendment freedom of speech right in the Bill of Rights. Now, I had tongue cancer surgery and they cut my neck to look for cancer in the lymph nodes. They found cancer in one lymph node. And my tongue is messed up so I can't pronounce properly. If I went on OME or Monkey app and start talking to people, I would get all these complaints and insults. People saying, "Are you autistic? Do you have Down syndrome? Are you retarded?" And the problem with that is not that they're wrong, because they are right, they have a point. But the problem is that even if I didn't have all of this and I was just talking normally, they see me as an Asian male who's short, who wears glasses, and who's not very bubbly or talkative. So often you have these, just anyone on those sites, skip, 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 you find someone and you're both staring at each other. No one really is more talkative. Anyone, even the most introverted people, can enjoy talking unless you're actually autistic or like your neck's broken, you're paralyzed. But what happens is people will have a perception and a bias and they'll judge you. So all of it happens in an instant. So they see me, okay, they don't know anything about me. They don't know I'm really smart or I'm really nice because a lot of Asian guys are just average dudes, okay? There's a misconception that Asians are smarter or nicer. Okay, now the average Asian guy is a bit better than the average black dude or the average Hispanic dude. But between Asians, blacks, Hispanics, whites, I would say we're all similar. Just because, now, so when you try to when you try to de-escalate a situation, so de-escalation does not mean it does not directly translate to how well you're able to end arguments. De-escalation is more about controlling a scenario and making it go down. So ending arguments what that would entail would be walking away or ignoring the person or beating them up. But de-escalation, because those are the things you would do to end it logically, but de-escalation is you're still there arguing, but how you're dealing with the scenario is you're strategically getting the other person to fade down. So to de-escalate, what you have to do is you have to not care about being right, okay, and what you want to do is appeal to them. So you think about emotions, feelings, whatever they're going through. You see, de-escalation is not for arguments, okay? Because if you're in an argument, one person is right, the other person is wrong, or they're both wrong. You can't have two people who are both right arguing, because otherwise one person is just dumb then, because they can't realize the other person agrees with them. But so it's not for arguments. What de-escalation's for, not for regular arguments, but it's for the arguments where it's someone who's right and it's if someone, so here's the thing, because now I'm getting confused. You de-escalate when oh dang it, um, you de-escalate when the person, two people arguing, because if one person is right and one person is wrong, the right person should win. So whether the right person is on the winning or losing side, you don't need to de-escalate because the right person needs to win. So if it's an argument where two people, right person, wrong person, right person has to win, so right person cannot de-escalate, and wrong person also cannot de-escalate, because it wouldn't be called de-escalating to admit, hey, I was wrong, I'm sorry. That's not de-escalation. De-escalation is you're just making an attempt, but it's unsuccessful, likely. Now, so what de-escalation is for is when two people are both wrong. When two people are both wrong and a third person jumps in, then that third person can say, hey, let's draw the line. But if now I might title this video shout out twitch.tv/ironic elm. So just check him out. He's my friend on Twitch. Ironic elm. What is that? I find it. So so another thing I want to teach from all this knowledge I've accumulated throughout the years, it's not going to be all of it, but motivation is temporary and phase, and discipline lasts and can make you do things you don't want to do. So if you're trying to get more motivation, you can still try to do that, but if it's something that you need too much, then go for discipline. And how to train your discipline is you have to exert willpower, and your willpower drains throughout the day as the glycogen in your brain depletes. Now, I don't know if I don't know if discipline is like you just because here's the thing. So there's a difference between having like abstinence and discipline. So if you're needing discipline for an addiction, for instance, then that would be abstinence. But if you have abstinence and you want more discipline because you don't have discipline, then discipline and abstinence are two different things. So discipline, pure discipline, would just be like you know um you know, you, uh, peer discipline would be, universal. So, whatever you're trying to do, you can do it. You can force yourself to do it. And then, I believe, so, um, so now another thing is, when, when you see, or let's go back to the other thing, um, right and wrong. So, right is, morals, ethics, but right is more like you have, right is like, you know, the right thing would be, would be, so, morals, like complicated morals, like different scenarios, what's the right thing to do. That that's been figured out by philosophers. But what I mean by right and wrong is like the little things, like, and that's why people who uh, people who people who appreciate the little things in life, because the big things like money, food, clothes, shelter, those we can all get. So when you say you appreciate the big things in life, that means a mansion as opposed to an apartment, and the best steak as opposed to, meat. So people don't say, "Oh, I appreciate the bigger things in life." It's always the smaller things, because together the smaller things mean more. And then, um, I'm not gonna cover too much fitness in this video. I'll try to end it soon. Because I might ask my friend, Ironic to react to this or watch it in his free time. Maybe not on his stream. Um, but this is not scripted. I'm not reading from a script. But check out my friend on twitch.tv or twitch.com, same thing. Twitch.tv/ironic. Oh. Um, my lips are dry. So, so you have debates. So this is what I specialize in. This is where right and wrong comes in, is with debates, not morals, not ethics. So within debates, right, you have two sides. You pick one side or the other side. Now, in debates, there is a whole bunch of flaws. So if I say that in a video game, there is no reason to worry about the damage you do to a car driving in a video game, but I can immediately debunk that by saying all racing games, Grand Theft Auto, because your car does matter. That logic that's one-sided or close-minded or contextual, you want to dissect that and break that down. So only be that contextual when you really can, like, never, never, never get water in your ears, but at the same time you go to the pool or you shower, but there's a difference between that and, messing up your ears. But the other thing is, um, let's say, uh, let's say you were trying to be a famous YouTuber, right? What should you do? How should you go about it? Well, the answer most people give you has to do with what content you make, your background, your thumbnail title, but all of that could go, hit or miss. What I would tell you is that the most effective way is to network, but that's already one of the common ways people talk about. But unfortunately, no one who truly networks stays small. Everyone who makes a bunch of friends and they go around promoting themselves in the right way, they all grow. So it's all about networking. Now, if your thumbnail sucks and your title is weird and people can't understand what your content is all about, like with me, then that's bad. But I'm telling you, networking the right way means you organically go out and make friends. And once you reach a certain size, you will perpetually grow. Because you could blow up on a viral video and then still be small the next day, get 200 views on a TikTok. But it might be a couple thousand, but you'll still be relatively small. Now, networking doesn't mean that you just go around asking people to watch your videos. You want to strategically put yourself out there. So that's another thing people say. So what that could mean is like you wanna avoid just streaming to your same regular viewers and not putting yourself out there. You want to gain some exposure from somewhere, whether it's getting a raise, getting a host. Now, I said YouTuber though, which means it's based on the YouTube algorithm, which is superior to every other site except maybe TikTok. Because on YouTube, people will find your videos. On Twitch, on Kick, when you're live, no one's scrolling down there and clicking on you and staying coming back as a loyal viewer. On YouTube, you can build loyal viewers. It's been done before. You can build a fan base. It's much harder to do on sites that are mainly for live streams. And like, also, if I tell you, you know, I could beat you in a fight, and you would say, no, you can't. Well, a lot of what fighting is about is strategy, technique, skill. In anime, this is not gonna have spoilers, but in anime where there's like Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball Super, you have crazy villains like Frieza and Majin Buu, and you know the androids, and you have like Goku struggling to defeat Frieza on Namek. People say, oh, I wish there was a show where the protagonist was so weak, underpowered, and the enemies were so strong, and the protagonist kept having to get stronger and stronger just to have a chance to beat them. And people would say, what are you talking about? That's like literally every anime. But what it really is about is a show where this hasn't been invented yet, I don't think, except for maybe Berserk, but a a show where the main protagonist, shout out Ironic L on Twitch. My lips are dry. Where strategy, skill, and technique come into play, and you have like uh, uh, a character that beats people way stronger than him and never gets stronger than his enemies, but always just strategizes and wins, and without teamwork, just himself. That would be a cool show, a cool theme. And should I end the video? No, I'm not gonna end the video. I'm gonna keep going. Maybe I will include fitness stuff in this video for Ironic. So, when you're strength training, um, uh, so for you to get as strong as you can, you need to train your tendons, which you would train in a bent position, like 90-degree leg arm bend. And so you could do wall sits and hold weights, one-legged wall sits, hold weights. And you would strain in that position. You would strain. So you would be trying to move an immovable load or object, like getting on the floor and, you know, getting getting the bottom of a push-up with weight on your back, or trying to do uh, 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 trying to do a tricep lying down overhead extension on the floor with a weight you can't lift, or even standing on one leg and raising the other knee and trying to press it down. That I showed Ironic one time and he tried it. And then, so training your muscles, how you would want to do that is uh, for some muscles in a peak contracted position. And then when that gets too easy, go to a peak lengthened position. So if I take my straight arm and press, that's peak contracted for triceps, so I could lie down and press with my tricep and lat and rear delt, like a straight arm lat pull down. The rep range you should be doing for strength depends. So if it was straight sets with weights, you would do 4 to 5 reps as your max reps, and you would always do max reps for any goal. For power, where you're training explosiveness and it's ballistics, let's say, so you don't go all the way until like you're getting accustomed to the minimum amount of force required to complete the lift. Like if you're jumping onto something, you would just adjust the added weight. So okay, I'm doing max 4 or 5 jumps with this added weight. And so I'm training my muscles to always exert at full force and not get accustomed to the minimum amount of force required to jump on this bench stepper or this chair. And if it was strength with bodyweight exercises, it would be like and straight sets, then I would say 8 reps or lower. You could go down to 4 or 5, because bodyweight moves build lean muscle mass. Sleeper build 1 to 15 as your max reps. 1 to 15 and 1 to 7 for resistance training. 8 to 15 as your max reps resistance training builds bulk muscle mass. And then when you train tendons, resistance bands is better because they stretch and it's low impact, so you won't hurt your joints and tendons, ligaments won't hurt your tendons. Tendon strength training, because if you're trying to lift a weight, like let's say a bicep curl, and you're stuck in the middle, you might get nerve damage straining to lift it. Or if you don't get nerve damage, you'll just you'll drop the weight on the floor. Because it might be too hard to hold it, or not, when you let it go back down. And so for strength, I would say um, you want to always um, like there is what's called post-activation potentiation, which is where you do a moderately heavy lift, and then you get a temporary boost in strength, but it's not reliable where you can do it each time. So, for instance, if I was chest pressing 45-pound dumbbells, and then I went to do two-arm push-ups, um, that would help my two-arm push-ups. But that's you can't do that on every combination of moves and sets and reps. For bodyweight workouts, if you have one bodyweight move for the whole workout, you would do 10 max rep sets. And for weights, with one weight move as a whole workout, you would do 25 max rep sets. Any more than those would be overtraining. And then for your uh, for your stretching, if you bounce like for chest biceps, um, you would you would work to be more ballistic, but like explosive, but static stretching, like holding out my arm, my hand in place, that would help with static hold moves. And you should just look up stretches for every muscle. I could show you, but I'm banned on Twitch, so I don't want, I can send him my other video where I demonstrate the stretches. And the other stretch that's in the title of that video that I forgot to demonstrate is this. So you go to the side, but you also pump your hand in that direction to stretch your lat and teres major. Okay, I have to pay like $8,000 to react in this video. Even if you watch this in 2 times speed, it's gonna be like over 24 minutes now. I don't know if you can watch. So, I've given you, I've given you a lot of advice on how to grow your streams in like Discord chats and stuff. But one thing is one thing is that um, so here's the thing. If I go live right now and I don't have a big audience viewer base, but I can still pull like 20 viewers if I wanted to. And the strategy behind that, going from no shows and fake friend viewers, is just like could go live and have like less than 9 viewers in the middle of his stream playing League of Legends. Nothing against League of Legends. um, so you will accumulate more viewers by like the audience retention is what it would be called. That you'll get more of that if if it's not about how active your chat is or how many viewers you already have. It's actually more about how you talk. So I'm giving you a semi-secret. So here's the thing. So Elm already talks pretty good, but here's the thing. If you are like a normie, you will do better than like a guy who's on his PlayStation or Xbox with no face cam. So make sure you have face cam always. And now back to the way you talk. So if a viewer comes in and chats, a lot of people will say make sure you read chat, make sure you do this and that, but all that is common sense. What I'm talking about is your vibe, your energy, but not just that. It's almost like if I find a streamer who I want to talk to and they want to talk to me, but they're not like trying too hard. Cause here's the thing, there's streamers who have a gift, like they have a gift. I don't have that gift. I I gotta stop doing that. But yeah, it's how you talk. So, not everyone will like how Elm talks. Not everyone will like it. But I like the way he talks. And that is all that matters. All that matters. I just stared at the camera for too long. I zoomed out. So when you catch a ball, you grip it. You grip it. You don't just let it hit the palm of your hand and bounce away. You have to let it come and grab. So practice that. Now, squeeze, squeeze. um, oh, so to get, more, money, what you can do is, you can get, like, here, one of these jobs, um, that is good. Uh, One of these jobs I'm about to share with you. Wait, where's the list? Where's the list? Wait. Wait. Um, they're like tier 1 help desk support, chat email support, moderation support, um, uh, customer service, sales representative, sales rep, and other stuff. You can look up, there's other ones like, marketing, and, jobs that don't require education or prior experience, and, you can get a remote, position where you can work from home on your laptop, use your phone, and, it pays up to like over $40 an hour, and has paid leave, paid insurance, training benefits. Yeah, get those jobs. Get those jobs. Um, mm, Man, Elm is gonna be pissed off. This is too long. I don't have money to pay him to react. He's gonna be mad. No. No. Elm. Elm. That's not his name. It's ironic. Elm.